So the name of the game is Suppression. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. So we got the new IBO decks this weekend, probably one of the hardest products to get. Me and my friend ended up getting to go to our event. We got R2. And I wanted to test out purple white. I saw a really interesting couple of takes on this out of Japan, and I said, you know what, let's give it a shot. You know, I do think purple blue until set 2 comes out is by far probably gonna be the better pick, but I do love me white deck. I do think that green white Hero UE Rush is probably still gonna be what I'm gonna go back to choosing to play. So this was a fun concept to run around and test with. So we are playing 4 copies of the new 2/2 2/1, or it's a 1 cost. I mean, so you hit level 2, you get to deploy this. I really wish that this card did more. It's fundamentally, it's not a blocker. It's just a normal normal unit to kind of get in there. Now, obviously, this is because purple is new to the game. The only real purple stuff that we got was straight out of this pack. So, you kind of left with playing some of the more odd choices with this. Now, because I have chosen to play white, we are going to be focusing more on the blocker side of things. Interestingly enough, right now, with testing out the blocker version of this, it doesn't really feel like you're getting adequate trades with the blockers. I think that might be the thing that I don't necessarily like about this list is, Lefrith is always going to be a good card. You deploy this, it's meant to take a hit or two. It's not really going to do anything too crazy, but it just, this deck doesn't really feel like it has a giga late game. It was the thing I was trying to be super aggro with it too. It's kind of a lot of the thing I think a lot of people are trying to do with purple is, you're trying to get in, you're trying to be as aggro as you can, you're pumping up, these blockers, these guys are getting huge. This is a 3/2 blocker, obviously, compared to the Lefrith that's 2/4. You are losing a stat line on this, but this is another, you also can't deploy this until, 3/2, but the purpose of this is just to be able to absorb a big hit and kind of trade off as well, because, super early game, it should be trading with literally anything. This was also something that is interesting. This is a 4/3 that you can drop at turn 3. I never felt that this card was bad, but if you're stuck seeing these in the late game, Hero Yui's coming down to, do the board wipe of death, unfortunately, there's not really much that you can do about that, You just you get wiped out. So that was one thing that was like, yeah, it is a 4/3 that you can deploy on turn 3, which is pretty solid. But I don't know, I never really felt like the value was super good there. Our base for this deck. So burst, it deploys, you add one of your shields to your hand. And then we get to rest this to choose one of our damage units and give it +2 AP for this turn. So what's really cool about that is purple's gimmick in this game is we want to make everything really big. That's why I talk about the aggro aspect of this deck, because you want to have the big guys getting in. You want to be able to get the job done. And that's kind of the thing, right? As long as you can, draw your big Barbatos, you'll be really clearing things up. And then we played the White Iron and Blood. This pings one thing on your field. Also, this is an act and main. So it's just choose one of your units, deal damage to it, and it gets +3 attack for the turn. So your goal with this is, once again, you're using this in combination with the base, dealing damage to it. You combine this with the base, you're getting 5 attack, And you're basically able to create this super big, card to deal damage to bases, the swing out things. It's really good. We are playing Triple Striker Pack. This is the reason why you choose to play white, honestly, because it either creates a 4/2 token, a 2/4 token, or if you burst it out of life, you get the 3/3 token. It is always going to be probably one of the more important things. Now, this card is really, really nuts. And this was another cool thing that if you can, link this up and you can start attacking, this is going to bounce a card on the opponent's field that has 2 or less HP and return it back to their hand. So typically, if you play, this is like anti-aggro, for example, you use this to start bouncing back, their tokens or any of this other stuff that they're going to have. Now, when Kira's under this, which we do play 4 copies of Kira. So, you pilot the Kira into this. You're creating a 6/4, which is also going to power down things by 2 AP. You're basically creating this this super big problem that the opponent has to deal with. Obviously, you do have things like the Ale Strike also, which, if you pilot the Kira into this, you also get the bounce on this, but also, you get to create a really dumb blocker that also starts power down things. This is why people really look to the Ale Strike as, that big defensive package to kind of, try to clear out those problem cards. And trust me, the bigger the blocker and the more that you're able to defensively work with it is pretty good. Oh, the Barbatos second form. So this is very, very interesting. So when this is damaged, and this is continuous, by the way, so this goes to getting +4 health. It gets +2 attack. So it becomes a 4 attack. And then if you're piloted with the Mikazuki in it, you're going to get, 2 more attack. And then, you just ping this for the damage. So basically, while you've got the Mikazuki up and running here, you're turning this into a 6, basically be a 6/4, because you ping it for the damage. That on turn 4 is actually an insane concept. That's kind of the reason why, once again, you're just using this to create incredibly large bodies and be able to pressure the opponent. Now, unfortunately, I cannot draw this card to save my life, which is very, very sad. So, on place, choose one of your other units and deal a damage to it, and it gets 1 action point for the turn. So, basically, you want to combine this with another unit to be able to make it a little bit larger, which is not a problem. But the thing that makes this card broken is when this card is, or while this card is damaged, it gets suppression. Now, suppression is this nice little new terminology that we just got that says when this card attacks shields, it deals it to the first 2 simultaneously. So what ends up happening here is this is a double attacker. You're dealing double damage to your opponent with this, and that's kind of interesting. And then we have this nice little new card called Fatal Strike. Now, when this is checked out of damage for its burst, you deal 1 damage to an enemy, but you can also use this during the main phase to kill something automatically that is level 3 or lower. No damage, no interaction, just 1 giant cleave to take care of the opponent's problem card. And you know what? It gets the job done. This literally solves all of your blocker problems and allows you to start pulling aggro with this deck. So, I will say, this is a fun concept. I do want to test the blue build next. We have set 2 coming at the end of October. We'll see how it makes an impact on the meta. But please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back there in the day, guys. Patrons! Thank you! Ah!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.